Welcome back to the Kickback Lounge podcast. Today, we got a special guest in the building, Travis Brown, fitness coach, podcaster, all around cool ass motherfucker.
What's good? What's up? What's good? What's good?
And I got my co-host, Max Choriev, in the building.
Oh, you the only?
You the co-host? He co-hosted.
You the co-host?
This episode. He co-hosting today.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's what's up. What's up?
All right. So first off, we want to know, how did you get into fitness training? The whole, like, how did you get into that?
So like my family, like these athletes, like through and through. Mm-hmm. My two girl twin cousins were like the top basketball players in the state of Missouri back when they were in high school. My older brother was a top wrestler in the country from like 8th grade all the way up to his senior year in high school. Yeah. And that was he was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then my mom was a tennis player. My aunts were collegiate volleyball players. Yeah, man. I mean, we had it was embedded in us to be athletes from like day one. And then my uncle Kenny was a professional bodybuilder, and like my uncle Kenny was an amazing baseball player. Yeah. The problem is the position he played for. He was part of the St. Louis Cardinals organization, and he was never going to see the light of day because he was a shortstop. Okay. And he was in the 80s.
Too heavy?
No. You got Ozzie Smith playing in front of you.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and, you ain't never playing. Like, so he stayed in the AAA and circuits and stuff for a very, very long time. But while he was on his off season, he would compete all over the world in bodybuilding competitions. Yeah. So when I was about 12 years old, he started telling me, like, I decided this one summer to stay at my grandma's house, and he told me, like, all right, every single Saturday, I'm gonna come pick you up, and I'm gonna take you to my gym, and you're gonna work out with me. Oh yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. But then motherfucker didn't tell me like it was gonna be like 7 o'clock in the morning. Right. And and I'm like, man, it's I'm 12 years old, dude. I'm like, man, it's Saturday, man. I was like, I got things to do in the morning. Yeah. This cartoon come on, whatever, go outside. But I was like, no, all right, let me check it out. Let me see what's going on. So he started taking me every single Saturday to these gyms, man. And they were out here right around the corner, actually. The old Gold's Gym that used to be out here. There was a World Gym that was in, what is it called? DeGrasso Plaza over there. There's a Club Fitness over there right now. Yeah. But back in the day, that used to be a World Gym over in that area. And, man, we would go every Saturday, man, from 7 o'clock to like 9 o'clock. We would go to the gym. Yeah. He would work out. He would show me what to do. Yeah. And then he would leave it at that. And so then, I was playing sports, baseball, basketball, football.
What did you start out? What sport did you start out in?
Baseball, of course, was the started with. And then basketball, got into it. Then, man, when I was 4 years old, when I was 6, we started ice skating. So I started playing hockey, but I had a lot of bad experiences as a young black man in St. Louis ice skating with some, with some things. So and hockey was already kind of expensive. So, it wasn't really going to be on the radar. So I just stuck with, I'm going to play football in the fall. I'm going to play basketball in the wintertime. And then I'm going to play, baseball in the spring and the summer. But like working out wasn't really that important to me. It was just like, knowing the sport, knowing everything about all the sports, all the technical aspects, why people are good, why people are bad. Yeah. I was a stat kid. I'm a nerd, like 100% nerd.
Did you have an athlete that you looked at growing up that you were like
a shitload, man? Where you want to go? Name the sport. Name the sport.
Name the sport.
Name the sport, man. Just name any sport.
Football. Let's go football.
Which one? College or NFL?
NFL. Well, I guess it's kind of mixed.
No, I'll tell you, bro. My favorite college football players growing up were all the players at the University of Michigan. So like Charles Woodson, Ty Streets, Brian Greasy, Tom Brady.
They had some badasses.
Henson, Biaka Batuka, the running backs, and then Desmond Howard and all the receivers and stuff like that too. But then in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers have always been my team. So I was a huge Kevin Green fan. The defense of the Steelers was like my main thing that I love. Rod Woodson and Deion Sanders were like my favorite football players in the NFL growing up.
You watch the U? You look at the U at all?
Yeah, man. I hate my cousin was a big Miami fan. My cousin Joaquin. Yeah. He was a big Miami fan. So I used to bang with him because Like, I kind of liked Florida State a little bit because that was back when Charlie Ward and all those cats were playing for Florida State. So and Charlie Ward played football and he played on the basketball team.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, nah, man, that motherfucker's legit. Like, these dudes, they're the ones who are, you know, they're better than Miami. Miami just got all these dudes down there doing cocaine and shit like that. You know, because even as a little kid, you know, we got enough access to find out what was going on with teams like the U and stuff like that. So we got a chance to follow them. And when you're a young black man, especially growing up in a place like St. Louis, man, drug dealer culture, bro. Right. You know what I mean? Like, every kid, you knew that kid had money if he was walking around with a gold chain and a Miami Hurricanes jacket on. You know, a starter Miami Hurricanes jacket. Ones, yeah, for sure. So we were immersed in it. But that was the thing that was so great about growing up in the 90s, was when the culture of the clothes, the culture of the music, and the culture of the sports started to all like really combine and mix with each other. So, I mean, like, you know, because we had guys like Allen Iverson, you know what I'm saying, who was out at that time. And I wasn't an Allen Iverson fan because I'm a Boston Celtics fan. Yeah. So, like, my favorite players of all time are Larry Bird, Bill Russell, guys like that Xavier McDaniel back when he played for the Celtics. Big Chief, Kevin McHale, DJ, like, DJ looked like you know what I'm saying? Like, he was the light-skinned bro with freckles out there killing it, you know what I mean? With red hair and afro and shit.
Did you fuck with the Fab Five?
Fuck yeah, all day, man. Like, I almost named my son Jalen.
Oh, really?
Like, and I listen to Jalen and Jacoby podcast every fucking day.
I look up to him. For sure.
I love Jalen Rose, man. I consider, like, the Fab Five, and that's what I'm saying, man. The street, urban, like, hip hop culture. Ciara Eubanks, the girl that's about to fight Sajara Eubanks, that was one of my first interviews that I ever had in MMA. Really? Yeah, that hip hop urban culture, man. Like, when we ate fried rice, we went to basketball practice, and then we came home and we sat in front of somebody's TV at somebody's house, kind of like what we're doing with the fights right here, watching the Fab Five play college basketball. Yeah. Why? Because they had baggy ass motherfucking shorts. They were wearing black fucking socks. They were all bald. They look like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, we in my neighborhood, you went outside and you thought you were the baddest dude on the basketball court, but there was this dude who smoked 3 blunts a day, drank like a 40 every hour, and like played dice. And his jumper is 8 times better than yours, right? Because he lived on that street. You know what I mean? So that reminded us. So when we saw Fab Five as kids, we were like, "That's us. That's us. That's us playing. That's letting us know that we can also be playing basketball at that level too." Because them dudes were from all these different parts of the country, but when they came together, they became the outcast, man. And everybody wants to be able to be an outcast, but still
be fly
and still exist. And they were winning. Yeah. So that was another thing that was cool too, is they actually was killing some cats and winning, know. But man, big part of my childhood growing up, like, for sure. Yeah. With all that stuff. So so with all the sports and stuff, man, like, I immersed myself into fitness, but really thinking about my, like, uncle and all, like, showing me his videos of him going to Sweden and Germany and all these amazing places competing in these competitions, it always just, like, kind of fueled me in the backside to be like, all right, like, why does that world exist? Like, y'all motherfuckers ain't doing nothing but just, like, standing around and posing and shit. Right. Like, I was like, y'all look like terrible WWE motherfuckers. You want to be active. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you see these big ass WWE motherfuckers and they out there flipping people and shit, and then y'all motherfuckers just standing around, like, posing and shit. I'm like, who gives a crap? Like, but I respected how much those guys trained, and clearly they were doing crazy shit because I got exposed to steroids, like, very, very early.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Well, because some of the guys that trained with my uncle was a natural performer in bodybuilding, and he's paying for it right now because he's had more than one hip replacement surgeries and stuff like that. But a lot of the guys that he trained with did steroids, and you knew, because you be in the gym, and like I said, he was taking me in the gym every fucking Saturday. Yeah. You be in the gym and you would see these guys who you look at them and you think they were 45, 35, something like that. The motherfuckers were 22, 23. They had no hair. They're jacked, like huge, but they no hair, like completely look drained in the face. Yeah. But I mean, them dudes just in there killing it, you know. Right. So I knew I didn't want anything to do with that shit. Yeah. Like at all.
Steroids specifically, or just
like just the whole bodybuilding aspect behind it, but. Did some of the women, I was like, man, she bad as fuck. Oh, yeah.
You're like, I mean? So I might just do it.
Right. I was like, so I'm going to think about it. You know what I mean? But what it eventually like kind of boiled down to is I met these two Russian guys, I think I was a freshman in high school. And no, junior in high school. Okay. So I just transferred from Rittner High School in North County to Webster Groves High School, and it was fucking night and day. You know, I went from walking through a goddamn, security gate and metal detector to kids like literally smoking joints in parking lots and then walking in school. I was like, where the fuck are we? I thought I walked into some like Degrassi high shit. You know what I'm saying? And so when I moved out there, I didn't know anybody, except for my cousins. But I was playing sports already. I was already like working in with the basketball team and getting to know them. And I didn't play football because I was like, I gotta make it on the basketball team. Yeah. And they were one of the top basketball teams in the state already.
Was it just a culture of like basketball that you had to like? That's why you said I had to get into basketball?
No, it was because they had a lot of good fucking kids. So, bro, the first day I went to the school. The bathroom that was by like our main hallway locker, in the boys' bathroom, there was a fucking paper sheet. And on the sheet, it said, these are the top basketball players at Webster Groves High School. And all the kids that were there. Some of the kids were already on the team. Some of the kids had not been on the team. And all the way at the bottom of the list, it said, this new dude. And they were talking about me. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And so I was like, you know what? The football team, they had their own culture. Everybody was picked on the football team. I really didn't want anything to do with it. We transferred kind of late in the school year anyway, because we had a funeral we had to attend and we had to leave out of town, stuff like that. So when I came back, I was like, fuck it, man. I'm full-time focused on basketball. I was like, not only are they going to put my goddamn name on this little punk-ass like list in the bathroom, it's like I'm going to make the team too. So I started going to this gym across the street from my grandmother's house, and the gym is currently, what the hell is it? It's over in the Deer Creek Plaza. Oh, it's Title Boxing. Okay, so it's Title Boxing. It used to be Family Video, and before that, it was Title Boxing. I mean, it was this little like gym, and it was, I forgot what these dudes called. It was like Strength Power Gym or something like that. But there was these two Russian dudes, this older Russian dude and like his uncle or some shit, and nobody, the gym didn't last for more than a year. Like nobody came in that gym ever. Damn. But I did. And I started doing 2-a-days whenever I could too. And the guys noticed that I was coming in and doing shit, but they were like, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. And I'm just doing all this bodybuilding stuff. And they were like, well, what do you do? Like you tall, you skinny, what do you do? And I'm like, I play basketball. I was like, but I need to get some size because these motherfuckers is like 6'8", 6'9". I wasn't playing against these size dudes in my old school.
And basketball back then too is like different now.
Yeah, for sure. It was physical, man. Like you had to get big.
Exactly.
So I was like, I gotta put some size on me. And then the one Russian coach was like, oh, you need to be training like this. And so that's when I got introduced to the world of like truly what's considered functional fitness training. And then from there,
what would you say is good like functional fitness training? Like what is the foundation of that?
In my opinion, core trunk stability. You have to be able to provide some way for your client or athlete to adapt to whatever tensions you're putting on them. So like if I got like Max and I know he can say bench press, 150 pounds like forever. Right. Like he can do like 25 reps with like nothing, I can take that weight off and then I can add like bands or chains or turn it into a bamboo stick or something like that, and then create a different type of resistance and say, give me that same exact type of effort that you just did with that, and that change in that resistance is gonna gonna force him to start to engage other portions of the body that he didn't have to before.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't, like your foundation, bench press, squat, deadlift forever, and then all of the special exercises associated with them.
Okay.
But a lot of people just say, "Oh, we're functional lifting," and it's just because they're back squatting, benching, and deadlifting. It's like, no, motherfucker, you just back squatting, benching, and deadlifting. Right. Like what are you doing that's actually engaging certain your trunk, hitting different planes? So like you can deadlift, but then after that, you should be doing like a hamstring movement.
Okay.
That makes it more of a functional workout, and make it single, like one leg at a time, something.
Yeah.
You can back squat, but then after you get done with that, do some Bulgarian split squats, or get a stability ball and do one leg, hammer curls or med ball presses. I like doing dumbbell and med ball toe reaches.
Yeah.
And just to make the client or the athlete aware that
there's more.
You sit down on the toilet, but every single toilet you sit down on is not the same.
Yeah.
You sit in different chairs every single day, from work to your car to what you have at the house.
Right.
These are all affecting you because you're spending more time doing that than you're spending more time, like Sajara and Gatto, like they can do jujitsu 6 to 8 hours a day, 2 to 3 times a week, but they're still sitting in their car, laying in their bed, sitting on their couch, sitting at work or whatever, accumulate way more than the time that they're working on their craft or their movement. So for athletes, it's a little different. You got to make sure that they're able to still perform in whatever capacity they need to. But for like your normal person, what you're just trying to do is to remind them like, hey, you're gonna have to pick something up one day.
Yeah.
And you can't throw your back out by doing that.
Right.
You're gonna have to keep putting something up in the shelf one day. And you can't have your shoulder get fucked up from doing that because you're not taking care of your lats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, so it's about truly looking at, the ADL, like what are the main things that are needed for you to live your day-to-day lifestyle and not have it change, and then applying movements and exercises is the best way to say it, exercises to do that.
Okay.
While keeping the foundation of the back squat, the deadlift, and the press work, All
right. So you started to learn that from them. They put you on the right path.
Yeah. They, it was weird because when you work with guys like that, they came from, I think they were actually like Ukrainian or something like that. Yeah. And they came from like gymnasts, like dancing backgrounds.
Okay.
So these dudes had like intense like leg development, quad, glute, calf development, stuff like that. But then they had these like vertical backs, that went up because of all the like hanging and scaption work and stuff like that. So they could pull like a lot of weight. Like these dudes could deadlift like, 500 pounds for 5, like tap and go. Like it's nothing, but they were also shorter, but they were like, with me, I was Big Bird, you know what I mean? Like
how tall
long
were you
as, like back then, like right now I'm about 6'3". I was about 6'1" or something back then. So I was starting to get some height, but I was just long fucking everywhere because my wingspan is like 6'7", So they would look at me and they were like, just stop. Like you're never gonna get it. Like you look terrible. Like, cause I like fucking long ass arms, everything out, knees all going different fucking ways.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I was just like, all right, the only thing that I'm ever gonna do if I'm gonna learn how to do this stuff the right way is to just dig myself into the knowledge as much as I possibly can, and then actually start applying it to like me. Okay. And then if I can do it for me and have everybody come to me and say, "Wow, your form is fantastic. Your aesthetics are fantastic. How did you get that? What did you do to get that?" Then that would let me know right off the bat that I'm doing something right. Right. But I still knew that like I had to stay constantly up on what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
You know, so if a P90X came out or another machine came out, if I could get a chance to get my hands on it, I did it because I wanted to never be able to say, hey, do this without me actually trying to do it out the first time. Yeah. So that's then it just became like mostly like education after that. Okay.
So you know? Did you know what you wanted to kind of get into?
Fuck no. Like no, I completely didn't even give a shit about it, to be honest with you, because I was doing a lot of music. Music was like the main thing going on in my life at the time, man. I was the lead singer of a heavy metal band. I was also the singer in a punk rock ska band, and then making hip hop albums.
How'd you get into that? Like the whole punk rock, all that metal shit. Like was that just introduced you? You say
my mom, dude. Like my mom, honestly, man. Like my mom, she loved like what you would consider like 70s white boy bands, like Bee Gees and shit like that. And then she really got into like new wave when I was a kid. So she would be playing like Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, and stuff like that. And then by me going through the channels to find this shit, it was primarily through movies from the 80s, which is another reason why I became such a like horror movie fan. It's because I was also looking for the music. Because, you know, we didn't have the internet at that time.
Right.
So movies to me was the internet back then, because if you wanted to know what somebody was doing in England, you watched a fucking movie about some kids in England. If you wanted to know what was going on down in the South, you watched a movie about shit that was going on with the kids down in the South. And to me, I never really cared about like, you know, was it a good movie or was it a bad movie? I'm like, what can I take out of it? You know? And music was one of the number one things. So like every single time I would find some like old school, like British or old school East Coast horror film or something like that, I would start hearing punk. And then, you know, I was lucky enough that at that time, skateboarding was big enough that skateboard tapes started popping up, and I was skateboarding, and we were, and punk rock songs were always on skateboard tapes. And so then I got educated by some kids that I met who were older than me, who introduced me to like Bad Brains, Misfits, Minor Threat, you know, bands like that, Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. So then I started being like, okay. There's like I just don't fuck with country, like real talk. But I was like, there's passion in what these kids are screaming and yelling about, and I'm all about that shit. I'm an anarchy person, like through and through. Like I would like I like organization, but I love chaos if we can all sit back and watch it.
So you're surviving a zombie apocalypse, you think?
Oh, I'm trying to be one of the co-conspirators, like people to create it. I'm trying to figure out like what the fuck we need to get this shit going. You know.
What's your go-to? You going to a city? You going out in the country like Herschel Walker?
You got to go north, man. You got to go north. Like you got to go north so you can slow the zombie down with the cold weather.
Okay.
Because you don't know how they're gonna eventually start to migrate and move. Are they gonna be like a herd? Are they gonna be running single? So you need to be able to get someplace where you can sit up and look down at them. And then you just got to teach everybody that you're with to be skilled fucking archers and steal every single bike you can find. Like, and I'm not talking about motorcycle, bitch. I'm talking about BMX mountain bike, because you need to move in silence. You know what I'm saying? And you can't walk everywhere. So you got to get bikes. Like it's technically there's a couple things that you want to look at. Watch World War Z for the part when Brad Pitt and all of them are riding around on the bikes. Okay? Mila Jovovich does the same thing in a couple Resident Evil movies, but then eventually they put her on like a motorcycle, and then here come these motherfuckers chasing her ass because they can hear the motorcycle. All right?
Loud as hell.
But look at the bikes from there, and then that lets you know right off the bat, all right, I need to be on something quiet, but that I can still move in, right? And then you got to go to The Walking Dead and look at Daryl and look at Michonne, because when it comes to weaponry, they are the two iconic characters to show you what weapons you need to survive if it's a zombie apocalypse, which is a silent shooting, killing mechanism like an arrow, and then the sharpest, longest motherfucking knife or a katana that you can fucking find so you can stick and move. Because people forget how you die, how 90% of all of you, everybody listening to this podcast right now, how you all will die is you're going to end up killing the zombie, and you're going to get so fucking amped that you killed that one punk ass zombie that you're going to do something stupid, like grab your fucking machete or whatever, and then you're going to stab another zombie in the wrong fucking place. The knife is going to get stuck, and you're going to get bit on your arm and the back of the neck by 3 other zombies that were standing right fucking behind you. Because then you got to listen to what Jesse Eisenberg said in Zombieland, which is the truest of the true. Your fucking cardio better be up. Because you have to move the entire fucking time. Yeah. And like fighters understand what it means to know that you need to move the entire time. But there is nothing that pushes forward. Like look at what's his face from Korea, the Korean zombie. Like there's nothing that pushes forward more than a zombie. It does not stop. There is no off switch. There is no like the sun came, zombies don't give a fuck, sun. So you got to go north where it's cold, so they slow down. Okay, through the snow, through the cold weather, and then let the motherfuckers freeze. You let the motherfuckers freeze, you can come carve their ass up like a fucking ice sculpture.
What about the people? What kind of people you getting around you?
You can't fuck with nobody.
Can't fuck with nobody.
No, because people are defective.
Yeah.
So you gotta literally look at your closest circle and be like, what is the most important thing you need and you need to have with you right now in regards to people, possessions, and pride. Yeah. And if it can't all go with us to wherever we need to go, you got to leave it behind. Yeah. And if them people ain't willing to leave it behind, you got to leave their ass behind. Right. Because they're going to get you killed, man. Yeah. Like, people don't know what it's like to be truly afraid until they're truly afraid. So you never know how anybody's going to react. Right. You know, like, I'm not going to lie. The first time I see a zombie, I'm probably going to scream like a little bitch. I'm like, and then I'm going to fucking smile like a motherfucker, and I'm going to rip my goddamn shirt off, and I'm going to run up, and I'm going to grab that shirt, wrap it around the zombie's head, slam that motherfucker down, and curb stomp his ass like Seth Rollins, and then you go get your weapons and get the fuck out of there. But that's like dude, how many people out here got group chats, right? Yeah. That's what your fucking group chats are for. Exactly. Motherfuckers be on group chats talking about episodes of the brand new Gilmore Girls or Sex in the City. No, man. Your group chats are for when the zombie apocalypse happens. So you can put, you send one message, get the fuck out right now, meet me here. Yeah. And then if they didn't get it, bro, that's all on them, man. Exactly. And then you don't wait, man. You say, hey, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. Right. But you got to start moving north. Right. You got to start moving north. Don't like. I hit you with that tornado warning in the group chat. I said, hell yeah. Right. Yeah, you gotta let people know what's up, man. You can't do water. People like, yeah, just get water. No, motherfucker. Go watch Zombie, the Italian movie Zombie. There's a fucking zombie walking around underneath the water, and it attacks a shark. Because they don't like the zombie attacks a shark. It's not gonna stop. Right. If it can walk, it's gonna walk all the way to the bottom of the fucking ocean. Right. And it's gonna keep on walking until it gets to your little fucking island. That floater in exactly. People are always like, oh man, you can go to our island. So you can just sit there and wait to die? Right. No, man. You go to someplace up high, the mountains, where you can look down and you can see who's coming up to you. And then, man, you fucking kick big ass boulders and shit down there and watch them fucking motherfuckers like Donkey Kong down there getting fucking ran over and shit, you know?
All right, so speaking of like managing people, like when did you transition from like, okay, I want to be a coach now, or like I want to be a fitness trainer now? Like,
it was funny, man. So I was working for my homeboy Simon, and Simon was the dietitian for the St. Louis Cardinals, the Rams, and the Blues. So we were literally we were just feeding the teams every single night that they had a game here locally. And I was always chatting with the strength and conditioning coaches and the athletes on the stuff that they were doing, like what new stuff they were figuring out and stuff like that. But I mean, I literally was like, I was working in Enterprise. I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car for like 14 years.
Yeah, I think my mom used to work there too.
Yeah. Okay. And so and when I stopped working for them, it was because I was like, all right, I gotta just like jump full into this and figure out what's going on. So I started working just at a gym also, doing sales and stuff like that while I was getting my certifications and stuff, because I was like, I want to be in the world so I can see what people are doing, what people don't know how to do, and stuff like that. And it became funny because I got there was this juice cleanse, right? that Simon wanted to do. And I'm sitting there like, man, who the fuck is about to buy this shit?
Right.
But he was like, no, man, it's cool. He's like, he's like, go to these fitness studios, and when you go to these fitness studios, like, show them, you know, like, hey, this is what you take for recovery. This is what you take, you know, if your sinuses are messing with you, your allergies are messing with you or whatever. So I'm like, whatever, man. I'm like, you paying me, like, it's all good. Yeah. So I went up there and I fucking started hustling at all these little like boot camp indoor places. And then one of the places that I went to was Orange Theory. Okay. So when I went to the Orange Theory in Rock Hill, big shout out to Carol, all the people from Rock Hill. And I remember they let me set up inside of the studio, which I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I get to actually see. And it was a badass fucking women and shit walking in and out of the studio. So I was like, yeah, man, let me see what's going on. I was like, let's see what's going on with this little workout thing in here. Yeah. And at that time, for me, I was like doing like a little bit of CrossFit, not heavy, but just kind of learning how to do it. A lot of Olympic weightlifting. Yeah. Around what year is this? This is about 6 years ago. Okay. And so, because it's been about 4 years now since I worked for OTF. So yeah. And so I was like sitting in there doing this juice cleanse stuff, looking at these guys, and it's like chicks walking backwards on treadmills, and the dude who's coaching the class walking around with a clipboard. He's like, all right, you guys, now you need to do this. Now you need to do this. And then these people were over on this floor messing with TRX straps, doing all, and none of them had any goddamn idea that they all looked like I was like, none of these people know what the hell they're doing. Right. And I was like, and this dude is not even like really paying attention to him. So I was like, I'm running out of here. Yeah. And then like the following week, I had to go to the one in Chesterfield. And like the minute I walked in the door, I could tell like the energy was different, because like the chick who was coaching the class, this woman named Abby, she's in there like barking at these motherfuckers, like, you better go, you better touch yourself, what are you guys gonna do? You better do that. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there like, okay, like this vibe is like 100% different. Yeah. And so, but they didn't let me in the studio because of how it was set up. So I couldn't really see if like the people in there were getting after it. So I'm like, whatever. So they set me up out there, and people came out. And, you know, people were coming up asking about the juice cleanse, stuff like that. So I started giving them my spiel, like, yo, this is what it does. This is what you're looking for. And then the guy who owned the place was like, hey, man, do you, he's like, you look like you work out, like, and stuff like that. He's like, do you have any certifications? And I was like, yeah, I got, you know, a personal training certification, because I got one through ISSA. And then I was like, and then I just got my Olympic weightlifting certification. And so he was like, yeah, man, he's like, you should come check out this workout, man. He's like, because you probably would like it. And if you like it, man, you should see if you would want to coach it, because you got a good presence. Yeah. Your voice, you have this this very carrying voice. And I'm like, yeah, cool, man. I was like, it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Yeah. And I was like, but what's up with all that like orange shit going on in there? And he's like, that's Orange Theory. He's like, just come try it out one time. Yeah. So I pretty much just blew him off for like a couple months. That's how it happens, right? I was like, I'm like, nah, man, I ain't doing that. And then Simon was actually getting ready to do some moving. So he was going to move out of the city to the county. And then I was still working at the gym. And I was getting ready to go ahead and stop doing sales, and I was just going to focus primarily on personal training. But I really didn't. Once I started kind of seeing the culture of the trainers that were working in that gym, I was like, man, I really don't want to be a part of any of that stuff that they have to do. I don't want to go to none of their meetings. I don't want to have to sell the way that any of them selling. Yeah. And they all looked miserable. Yeah, you know,
it becomes more than just like.
Yeah, I was like, this looks like it has nothing to do with getting these people like excited to come in. And so then I started thinking back about, you know, the chick out in Chesterfield, and I was like, well, she was getting people excited about coming in and getting some work in. So I was like, so let me go and check that out. So I decided to start taking some classes, and of course I'm a dumbass. I started doing like the 5 a.m. classes, but I was used to getting up early in the morning anyway. Yeah. So I was just like, all right, let me just get this in and get out of it. And the first couple fucking classes, like, just fucking killed my ass. I was like, what the? I'm like, why the fuck y'all got us running for this goddamn long? Like, I'm like, can we get the fuck off this treadmill? Like, I was like, this shit ain't fucking. I was like, my fucking low back is gonna be jacked up after this because like the day before I had been deadlifting and like, and back then I was deadlifting like 500 like pounds. So like, I was like, man, my back is gonna be fucking jacked up when I get done with this. I could tell because my shit was already getting tight. Yeah, but. Like the people that were in there, man, everybody was engaged. They were all about it. They were competitive. This little fucking soccer moms and shit, fucking like running next to each other, like pressing their buttons, like, oh, you doing it 9? I'm doing 9.5. And so I was like, okay, like there's something about this. Yeah. So I went to the dude and I was like, yeah, man, I'll fuck with this. I'll see what's going on with this. And got acclimated, got into it, and this guy that was like a regional director came to one of my classes after about a month, about 4 months or so of me doing it. And he was like, yo, man, you don't really know how to talk our language yet. Yeah. He's like, but it's kind of cool because you got your own. Yeah. He's like, and you're saying everything you're supposed to say. He's like, but it's kind of weird how you're saying it. Yeah. He's like, because it's like you're rapping at people and then you're yelling at people. And then you're like, what the hell are y'all doing? And, right. And he's like, but you got something going on. Yeah. And so he's like, let me give you these like 4 playlists you should play that I think would be like perfect for your class. And so then I was like, oh, okay, I went right back to my music background and I'm like, I need to become a like entertainer. Okay. To get these people to buy in, because on what I actually want them to do. This
is one of the best things I ever filmed. The file got corrupted, but it was the first time me and Max were filming, waiting for his fight, and it was probably the first time I met you. Yeah. It was at the old St. Louis CrossFit, you know. And he was like, you were doing some workout where you run down the street, you know, come back and all that shit, and then you were like, I was recording it. You were like, this is your people, this is in your blood. And I'm like, listening, watching it back. I'm like, bruh, this shit, like, this the most, this motherfucker could make, like, a fucking cow think it's
biggest
like
hype man ever, bro. Like, I know. I remember that, bro. I was, like, cutting weight, and I was already dead out of energy. Yeah. But he would just motivating with just words, man. Just give you that boost to keep going, you know? Yeah. I remember that, dude. It's cool.
How would you say it's like training with Travis?
In my opinion, Travis is one of the best strength conditioning coaches I had. You know, like I worked with several different trainers, but Travis is like the best one I had. Like he knows, like he'll break it down. You know, like some days like your body's beat up. He's like, all right, so we need to change up some stuff. You know, to work with you. You know, so and then he also like tells you to stretch all the time. Stretch is a big key for Travis. You know, he's like before
none of y'all motherfuckers stretch. Like, none of y'all. I've not just fighters. I'm talking to the people listening to this podcast too. None of y'all motherfuckers stretch. All right,
yeah,
like,
but
we know.
But yeah, man, he knows a lot about what he does. You know.
Tell them motherfuckers how I got on your ass about drinking and when you first turned 21 and stuff. Oh yeah, because I got in your ass, dog.
So when I first turned 21, I was like, oh, dude, it's legal. I get to party or whatever. Yeah. So there was a time where I was just not taking training as serious, but I was going out with friends, drinking, you know, staying up late. Yeah, dude. Diet was going to shit, and like I wasn't just taking care of myself, you know. Then Travis got on my ass like, dude, here's the thing, you're a fighter. Like, if you try and do this for real, you can't be half-assing it, you know. Like you either go completely in it or don't, you know. If you go half-ass, you're just gonna beat up your body and go nowhere with it, you know. Right. Yeah. So he's like, all right, dude, if you want to get your shit together, you do it. If not, like, you can only help yourself, you know. Like, I can only advise you, but you have to follow and commit to it and do what you need to do, you know?
Yeah. So when did you start with like fighters, like specifically training with fighters?
So the first fighter that I actually had the honor to work with was Kelly Dangelo. Okay. And then she started bringing Jimmy along. And it was funny, man, because I was working at the gym, a gym in Brentwood, Maplewood, Dogtown. And Kelly had I think she just had it was either her first or second Guns and Hoses fight. Okay. And she used to come to the front desk and she would be like, hey, because we had this big like group fitness room, right? And if nobody was in there, Kelly would come in, and I guess she was getting off of her shifts. And she would come in and she'd be like, hey, can I use your group fitness to work on some of my shadow boxing and shit like that? And I love fighting because I grew up watching fighting and being around boxing and shit my entire life. And I was like, please go for it. And Kelly's like this gorgeous little strong fucking blonde hair girl. I'm like, yeah, dude, girl, go get in, do what you need to do. And then eventually Jimmy started showing up, and she would take Jimmy in the group. She'd be beating the shit out of Jimmy. She was beating the shit out of Jimmy. I'd be calling people that were working out, like, hey man, come over here, look at this shit. She would have some pop, 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 like beat the shit out of Jimmy. And I remember telling her, I was like, man, you need to get into MMA like big time. Like you should be fighting, man. I was like, you're a fucking fighter, dude. Like I was like, I know you're a firefighter and shit like that. I was like, but you should be fucking getting in it. And she did, man. She fucking jumped in that shit like full throttle. She took her boxing to a different level. Then she picked up her jiu-jitsu. She went out to St. Charles and got busy with the team out there to make herself a complete fighter. And Jimmy got into it a lot more too. And then I was training them down at this gym, Fit City.
Fit City, yeah.
And Max. I brought Max down to Fit City.
It's a big gym.
And we were just working. You know, I told them at that time I had only worked with football players, volleyball players, and like soccer players from high school. I was like, I understand kicking power, I understand hips, and I understand that you guys got to be able to make it through your fight camps so that you're ready to fight. And none of y'all are ever going to be 100%, but I know like you want to have as much power as you possibly can, like leading into this fight. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I told them that, and this is, you know, I brought the philosophy. I'm like, hey, we're going to focus on stretching. We're going to focus on explosion movements. We're going to focus on using every single plane of your body. You're not just going to be able to sit here. We're going to go from this to this to this, because if you were fighting, you're not just standing there. You're going from this to this to this to this, you know? And I was constantly preaching that, and Kelly loved it. And, you know, unfortunately, first fight we had together, she lost, but she came back, and we worked again. She won fight after that. And then it got to a situation where I was leaving Fit City. They were training heavily out in St. Charles, and we were just too far from each other. Yeah. So we stopped training with each other. But man, I'm always gonna be thankful to Kelly and Jimmy D'Angelo. I love them to death for allowing me to train them as my first like fighters. Yeah. And then Buck and Max and them came like shortly after that. Because I was up in Finney's, and I was talking with Jesse Punk Ass like over and over and over again. And I would be like, hey man, let me do some of the, you know, fighter strength and conditioning classes that they're doing. But you know, Mac is his guy, and I love Mac to death, and he was already writing up the workouts and stuff like that. So I didn't want to step on any of his toes. But you know, I would be constantly talking to Mac, and I would be like, "Yo, man, hey, you should have them do this. I saw y'all doing that. You should switch it up to this and have them doing that." And Mac be smiling at me. He's like, "Yeah, bro, I got you, bro." He's like, "I got you, bro." Yeah. He's like, "That's what's up, bro. Appreciate it, bro. I got you." And you know, then he went to go fucking wrestling practice or some shit like that. Yeah. But I was training Jesse, and every morning I was training him. I'd be like, man, let me do some stuff with the fighters, man. Like, come on. Yeah. And then and Max was there. Everybody, Buck was there. You know, a lot of the guys who were first at Finney's the first time I popped my head in the door had moved on, like Rob and Porter and you know, but Edric was still there. You know what I mean? Sella and all those guys were still there. And Steve and all of them were all there, you know what I mean? So, and I was like, man, look, no, all these guys are very, very talented. Right. I was like, but I was like, but they're all slow as a motherfucker. and I was like, and I know I'm not down there training with them. Yeah. So if you go down there and, you know, and you get with a motherfucking monster, like rest in peace to our motherfucking brother Ryan Sutton, you know what I mean? You down there with the motherfucking monster like that, you better be fast to get the fuck away from his fucking ass. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, they're underneath me is like the entire cast of Dragon Ball Z. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I go down there and just like touch every single one of them to make them start leveling up? Yeah. You know, because I always go back to like video games, comics, anime, all the shit as a kid. Like, how can I make, you know, we make characters, and then you make your character fight, and you get their attributes, and you make your character better. You know, so I was like, I know they're down there leveling up on the fight aspect.
Yeah.
I was like, but I don't know if these guys truly know that they're not just fighters. You guys are athletes.
Right, because it's more than fighting.
Exactly. I was like, especially with MMA because of all the different nuances with the wrestling, grappling, striking, kicking, everything involved in it. And so I'm like, you guys have to start going at this like athletes. And I didn't see anybody like, and I'm not bragging, man. I'm not, believe me, I'm not trying to talk no shit. I know people could call me out if they want to. I really don't give a fuck, man. None of y'all niggas pay my bills. So I really don't care. Nobody else was doing strength and conditioning and shit with any of these fighters. Like, and you know, we were watching everybody in the UFC. We were watching everybody in Bellator, all the old promotions from Titan to LFA to when they were back, when they were just Legacy Fighting and RFA, when they were two different companies. You know, the girls up in Kansas City and Invicta. I was going to all that shit, man, because I was covering it. I was writing about it. And that's how I kept my ear to everything that was going on in the sport, because I was actually interviewing fighters. I was interviewing Cyborg. I was hanging out with Michelle you know, Watterson and Tanya Evinger and all the girls up in Kansas City, and then going down to Texas and meeting Derek Lewis and guys like that.
You watched Kimbo Slice fight, right?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I mean, I watched Kimbo Slice fight plenty of times. And you know, I wasn't the whole YouTube culture, that shit just kind of used to get on my nerves back then. So I really didn't care that he was from that. To me, it was more just like the opportunity for a brother to change his life, you know, which is, you know, and he was a cool ass dude. You know, I've hung out with Rampage. I've hung out with the Diaz, both the Diaz boys at strip clubs and shit like that. And it allowed me to pick all of their brains on what's the one thing that they were always missing. What's the one thing that they all, and they would always say the same shit, you know, like, man, I wish I could eat better and shit like that. And even when you're talking to like Nate and Nick, who are triathlon athletes and shit like that, you know, they take care of their body and stuff like that. But they're like, yeah, man, you know, I wish I had like a little bit better, you know, legit strength, you know, work that I could be doing that made more sense for me to stay fighting and also do triathlons and stuff like that. And that's when it just kept buzzing in my ear, man. And I was like, no, dude, I'm gonna figure this shit out. Like, I'm gonna figure out how to make these motherfuckers all bad as fuck. And then Buck finally came upstairs when I was training one of my clients, and he was working with another trainer, and I'm not gonna call him out, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. And he was, because you were working out with his ass too. And he was making them do bodybuilding shit. They were doing just bench pressing every day and 80 different reps of this and a bunch of fucking lunges of this and stuff like that. And, you know, and I would look at Max and Buck and all them, and I'd be like, so what is that helping y'all with in the fight? You know, and Max and Buck, man, they good dudes. So they would just always be like, oh, man, you know, man, he helping us out. He taking care of us. You know, we know what's really going on, motherfucker. You get free training, motherfucker. We know what's going on now. Like, you know, but hey, but at least you're willing to start learning how to mix what's going on in the gym with how it goes to the performance in the cage or in the ring. But I was like, no, man, y'all not doing the right shit. And I'm studying Westside Barbell, who's working with like the strong style team. So like Jessica I and them were on the team. Stipe Miocic was on the team. Matt Brown was on the team. So I'm watching all the shit that they're doing. I went up to Columbus, met those guys, saw the shit, stayed up in the gym, watched the shit they were doing. And then I came back and Buck was like, all right, man, show me what the fuck you gonna do. And he just came upstairs one day and was like, let's work out like next week sometime. And so I was like, cool, man, let's do it. And I went home and I wrote up like 4 different workouts. And then I just started like thinking about every single time I watch Joaquin fight. And I was like, every single time I watch Joaquin fight, that motherfucker is so heavy up top, big ass shoulders. He's just boom, 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 just like banging with these fucking dudes. And then all he's doing is fighting these dudes who are just trying to fucking hold on to his ass and wrestle his ass the whole entire time. So then I started thinking about it, and I was like, I'm gonna make this motherfucker like an X receiver. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making him like a slot back in football where they can't touch you no more. I was like, because if they can touch you, they're just going to lay on top of you, man. They're terrified of you. You look like a fucking monster. I was like, so if they can touch you, you in trouble. But if they can't touch you and you can touch them, this shit is not going to last long at all. You know, especially because I can take your God-given gifts that you already have and I can add just a little bit of more something to it to make sure not only you can survive, but you can perform when the time comes. Like you can actually execute. So first fight camp we had, that motherfucker Logan Story laid on his ass the whole entire goddamn camp, and the whole entire fight, and it didn't go right. And my dude, we separated for a little bit. He went away. Then he fought Jackie, lost that fight in Bellator, and he went away. And I was hitting him up all the time. Yo, man, you good? Like, you fine, man. Right. Don't worry about it. You good, man. You fine. And he was just like, whatever, nigga. I ain't, whatever. I'm good. I'll be all right. Max I think you had moved up with your sister for a little while. Yep. But then Max would come in town, and anytime Max would come in town, I'd be at Fit City, and I'm like, hey man, just come down to this gym. Yeah. And I was showing Max the shit we were doing, and it was a hybrid. It was like, I figured, I was like, okay, these guys are in the ring 3-5 minute, you know what I mean? I'm like, let's go. This movement, this section, this amount of time, work, keep working. Yeah. All right, this movement, this section, this amount of time, keep working, move on. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to constantly put them in the cage. Yeah. So I would always make them do stuff in different angles, putting them in the cage. Like, hey, one day, I'm like, you have no idea. We're going to be here right now for this 15 minutes, putting these two movements together. And then 15 minutes later, we're going to be over here working these 3 movements. And you're going to be so fucking mad we're doing these 3 movements because we just did this shit over here. Yeah. And I'm still going to make you do it. And then you still got another part to do after that. Right. And it got to the point, man. And, Buck said it a couple years ago. He was like, I don't even fucking give a shit about fighting, man. Go fucking work out with Travis, man. That motherfucker tried to kill your ass. Yeah. Like, I'm not. People would always be like, yeah, man, you need to be one of those trainers that's like making people throw up. Like, I even dated this chick who was like, did you make them throw up? You need to make them throw up. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, why do I want them to throw up? I'm like, why do I want them to throw up? Like, my goal is to actually get them to start recovering. Yeah. Like, after we get done with the workout, because I know these motherfuckers got to go to wrestling practice later tonight or jujitsu later tonight, or whatever the case may be. So I didn't buy into that, I started looking more towards like contacting and talking to PTs and stuff like that to be like, hey, what are you guys seeing? And they weren't really seeing any fighters. They were like, man, I don't fucking know. They don't come see us. All right. And then it just made me think more and more and more, okay, so we got this culture where these motherfuckers are all just sitting inside of these gyms, beating the shit out of each other every single day. Yeah. Nobody's stretching. Everybody's going and eating shit after they get finished done with it. Ain't nobody lifting any motherfucking weights because they're all afraid that they're going to be too tight and stuff like that. And I was like, man, clearly, if we have a zombie apocalypse, I'm not coming to get any of y'all motherfuckers. Because y'all going to be out there thinking y'all Jet Li and shit like that, and y'all body's going to break down in like 20 minutes, and y'all going to get ate the fuck up. Like, nah, I'm moving on. You know?
So I wanted to ask, when Joaquin eventually did get to the UFC and stuff, how was that, like, going to the events?
So, like, the first event, I didn't get to watch because, I didn't get to go to because we had COVID stuff going on. So it was crazy, man. September, we were in Wichita, and we fought in Wichita. We fought Chris Harris, LFA. We beat Chris, first round, 45 seconds. There you go. Came back to St. Louis. Edric and Joaquin were on the phone with Joaquin's manager from Sucker Punch. And then they were like, all right, there's another opportunity, like right off the bat, out in South Dakota for LFA. And it was rematch with Jackie Goss. So Buck was like, no, I want that. Like, I really want that. And so, and for me, I'm like, yeah, man, let's go. Just get out there, go after it. And so he went and went out there, won the fight. I couldn't go because that's when the pandemic shit popped off, and I'm trying to save my gym. And there's some, goofy shit going on here in St. Louis.
Yeah, with the gyms. That
big
whole
time,
shit was
man.
shut down for like a minute.
Yeah, and I was getting some hate and a lot of bull crap because, I'm trying to train them. This motherfucker went and got braces, so
yeah, I was out for like.
So he's just out. Yeah. Max is showing up every once in a while, but he's working with his pops and stuff like that. But like with like Montreal and Charles came back from Taiwan.
Charles, yeah.
I was like, y'all got opportunities possibly coming up, so we got to figure out a way to keep y'all going to the gym.
Yeah.
So we had the gym shut down.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come over, do what we gotta do, head on out the door. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of hard to do in Brentwood, America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? when you got people walking their dog and they Chardonnay at 8:00 in the morning, right. They're supposed to be working. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it got nasty, man. A bunch of emails and shit started going out about me training and stuff like that. Yeah. It just reminded me that I'm still famous in these streets. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So so I was like, all right, well, I guess people still care about me. Right. I was like, I'm over here and I'm like minding our goddamn business. Yeah. So like we fully fight vested right now. Right. So I didn't get to go out there when he fought Kevin. I had to sit there and watch him get dropped twice and be mad at the motherfucker.
How is that like? Because I hate watching like anybody I know fight.
Dude, it's the worst. It's the worst. This motherfucker, everybody, man. Yeah. Anytime any of them step in the cage, man. When I first started training with Kelly, dude, it's the worst fucking feeling in the world, man. Because for me, man, like I care about all these men and women so much, and the sport is so unforgiving. Like I don't want them to get hurt. Mm-hmm. I want them to hurt somebody. Right. Like, which is, I know it's fucked up to say, but I think you just have to be around it to understand it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want them to get hurt. I want them to be able to do so much damage to the other person so fast that we got another opportunity coming up kind of fast. Yeah. Because because I know how the business side of this game works, and if they're not fighting, they're not eating, or they're doing things that are distracting them from fighting. Right. So if we can keep them healthy from fight to fight to fight, minimal damage and stuff like that, that's what goes back to the no-hit philosophy. Like, then they can fight again. Right. Like Max can go fight up here in Brookfield and then go fight again here in out in Arnold less than 2 months later, a month later. You know what I'm saying? Because he's good to do it. We can't do that, though, if the body is not taken care of. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's nerve-wracking, man, because, of course, I want them to win. Always want them to win. Yeah. But I want them to be able to like put a stamp on what they did in the cage, because for them to always have something to take out of it other than just the win. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I want them to look back at what they just did in the cage and think about every single minute, every single sacrifice, the not drinking, the not going out, the changing of the eating, the habits and the lifestyle. And I want them to be able to take a piece of that cage with them and just store it somewhere so when they do get to that point, when they're in the toughest fight of their career and they're seeing the most adversity, they can take all the moments and put that shit right back in the cage right there and fucking win and dominate that fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? But it's just nerve-wracking, man. Like, I hate it. I get mad in the motherfucker. Like, when my dudes and my girls get hit, I want to jump in there and I want to hit the motherfucker. Yeah. Like, I'm like, no, man.
How do you keep calm when you're coaching them?
I'm not. Like, I can't. Like, no. It's like... Like, like, it's funny because I don't know if, like, what Buck would think, like, his side of the story, but, like, the last fight that we had against Antonio, one of the things that Buck said is he's fucking goofy as shit, man. He's like, yeah, man, I'm a glitch. And we're like, and our other coach, Joaquin's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I'm a glitch. Like, like, what he was talking about is throwing feints. Like he was going to feint and make him, fuck up his tempo. Yeah. Because we knew Antonio was just going to sit there, bounce time, throw leg kick. Yeah. And that's exactly what he did the whole entire time. So it was all about throwing him off of his timing. Yeah. And Reggie had worked with Joaquin, 100%. Big shout out to Reggie and the crew, family, STL Boxing. Big shout out to family up in Murcielago, MMA. Like he got Joaquin to the point where he was like, you need to get on Antonio's hip as fast as possible, and then he can't throw the kick. But when Joaquin got poked in the eye, and we didn't know he got poked in the eye, the motherfucker was still standing in front of him. Yeah. So for a person like me, all I'm thinking is, you gotta move, man. This motherfucker's kicks are like a goddamn, like, I'm not gonna say tornado in light of what just happened. Yeah. But I mean, we could feel the fucking wind on the side of the cage from this motherfucker's kicks. Because Antonio's a big ass fucking dude. And so he's throwing these fucking kicks, and Buck's blocking every single one of them. Yeah. But I'm like, why the fuck is he still standing in front of him? But I didn't see the eye poke.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was seeing like 3 Antonio, so he just didn't know which way he wanted to fucking go. So I just started screaming glitch, like every fucking time, like glitch, mom, like glitch. And I don't know if he heard me, if he was able to move, if any of them caught on timing. I didn't care. I was just like, hey man, you said you wanted to make sure you were keeping moving. I don't see you moving. I'm gonna scream something to keep you fucking moving, man. And I'm not his head coach. I'm his strength coach, but that's my body inside of the cage is how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, we put in a lot of work for you to be the best motherfucking athlete you could be right now. So we're not about to just stand there and let you take punishment. You know what I'm saying? Move, glitch, whatever the hell you want to call it, move. So, and it just comes out naturally, man. I'm a natural coach. You know, I coach my son's basketball. You know, I coach his baseball. It's embedded in me because I know I've been told too many times in my life what my voice sounds like, how powerful it can be, and how motivating and stuff it can be. But man, like, you know, but deep down inside, I feel like everybody's assholes in some certain way. So like, I find the asshole in you, and that's what makes me want to coach you. You know, that's why like when Max and them come in, I instantly get on them about something. Like, damn dog, what's up with them shoes you got on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what the fuck we doing in here?
Don't
like
wear that Everton shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, dude, and don't even get started. Like one of my girls, like one of you go on my Instagram right now, Brianna, one of the girls that I train, like. Just amazingly gorgeous young woman. Like she came in my gym Birkenstocks on today. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know what I mean? But I forgot her Achilles is all bothering in the back. So she's like, I'm just not working out with any shoes on, so I'm wearing these. And I'm just like, God, you're just disrespecting my place. Like coming up in here like this. Like you might as well have been wearing a BVB jersey. You know what I mean? So
you were talking about that Kevin Holland shit.
Yeah.
So the Kevin Holland to the Impa Kasanganai.
Yeah.
How did that like impact you?
Well, see, but that was another thing too, man. Like, I wasn't able to go, and it was crushing me, man, because you know passports were being delayed, and I waited like to the very last minute where I knew, like, I mean, I was sitting in the post office, like getting ready to just hand my stuff, and I was like, you know what, man, I can't go. And it was because I had to save my gym. I had people walking away, like, you know, one at a time, not even telling me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just seeing like money running out the door, and I'm like, nah, man, I gotta stay focused right here. I was like, you know, we chatted enough to know he had a game plan, you know, and luckily he had been in contact with Coach Joaquin in Michigan. So Mike and Justin, you know, forever grateful to both of those brothers up in Michigan who were there with Joaquin to corner him because there was nobody from St. Louis that was there with him. So, you know, and dude, like it was like one of the wildest weeks that I had personally because I was hanging out with this friend, and let's just put that in quotations.
That's fun.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fun.
We were actually gonna go up to Kansas City to watch the fight because we were just like, let's get out of St. Louis. And she was not from St. Louis, so she was actually halfway up. She was like up in Jeff City. So, and she had been working with all this CDC stuff. And she was just stressed out, worn out, whatever. So I was like, look, my dude has a fight. I was like, let's go like up to Kansas City, stay at one of my friends' Airbnbs up there. Chill, watch the fight, go walk around, get some good food. She was thinking about moving up to Kansas City. So I was like, we go up there so you can check out the neighborhoods, so you can move whatever up there. And she was going through a divorce and shit like that. So I was, you know, she wanted to just get away from every fucking thing she could. And then we got into a fight because
on their way there.
No, like I drove up to meet her in Jeff City, and like I wanted to go work out real quick before we burnt out. And her ass, she was like, all right, well, I got this conference call I got to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, we need to be up there by this time because the fights are in Abu Dhabi. And
playing games, bro.
I'm going to miss my dude fight. So I run to the gym, get a quick workout in, come right back. She on the phone, walking around like, not even like, don't even got anything back ready to go. I'm like, what are you doing? So I go back in my room, and I'm getting all my shit out of my room that I'm staying in. And I'm like, are we leaving? Are we going? And she's just like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm out, motherfucker. Like, I'm out. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, I was like, I got a feeling I know how exactly this is gonna. We're gonna get up there late.
Right.
I'm gonna be walking in some bar or some shit and seeing the highlight. I'm like, I need to be there from start to finish. So, bro, I'm not bullshitting you, man. I literally, I don't even know what the fuck. I probably left a watch or some shit up there. I grabbed my suitcase and just closed that motherfucker up, threw it in my trunk, burnt out. Right back down 70. I got back to St. Louis 10 minutes before he walked out.
Damn.
Like, I carried my luggage up into my place, put it down on the floor, turned on the TV, and they said, coming next.
Yeah.
Joaquin and Impa.
It's a nick of time.
Yep. Man, I was, dude, and then something told me, like, in the back of my head, something was like, you need to go watch this fight. Like, I don't give a shit what you got going on. Like, go watch this fight. You trying to be here for your homegirl, but she bullshitting.
Yes. Can't be on that time.
I'm like, no. I was like, you got it. I was like, it's time to go watch this fucking fight. So I said, man, when he landed that kick, man, I think I ran all the way down the street.
Yeah.
Like, and screamed the entire time. I think I scared, like, this old white dude that lives across the street from me. Like, he ain't been outside since. Like, like I mean, I'm talking about, I opened the door. I was like, yeah. And just ran down the street. Like, took my shirt off, ran down the street.
That shit don't happen, bro. That shit don't happen. You don't just get the greatest knockout in UFC.
Yeah, man. You know? And you know, and one of the reasons why it was super crazy is because, like, and Max, I know, like, can tell y'all, man, because he'll hear me saying this goofy ass shit in the gym all the time. Like, he did some ninja shit. You know what I mean? And that's all I ever want them to do. I'm like, man, I'm like, because I'll tell them, like, no, motherfucker, we gonna do some ninja. And Max be trying to do some, Max be throwing fucking tornado kicks and shit at people and shit when he's fighting and shit. And I'm like, Max be trying to do some ninja shit. And that's why I love training these motherfuckers, because they want to do that ninja shit. So when he landed the kick and it was the way that it was and the way that Impa fell, and we see Impa all the time now, and much love to Impa and his daddy, because we see his daddy with him all the time.
Yeah.
It's fucking super nice dude. Because he was at the last fight that we had with Antonio. Dude, it was like I couldn't even talk for like my phone was blowing up. I couldn't even respond back to nobody, man. I was just like in the moment for my dude, like big time, man. I'm just rewinding it on the TV over and over and over again. And then like an hour later, like after I'm on the floor like panting, like sweating and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like an hour later, man, my son texted me and he's like, Dad, Joaquin's on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And he shot me the TikTok of ESPN, had posted it.
Yeah, everywhere.
Instantly going viral, man.
Yeah.
And
he was trending on Twitter too.
right.
I was like,
and I was like, wait. I was like, dude, and Damien was 12 at the time. I was like, dude, my 12-year-old son knows about this right now, then this shit is viral as fuck right now. Because you can't pull these motherfuckers off Fortnite and shit at that time. Exactly. Call of Duty at that time. Like I can put every single fighter on TV in front of him. He like, yeah, that was nice, Dad. Switching them fucking guns. Yeah. You know, with that Fortnite bullshit. Right. But I mean, when he texted me and was like, Dad, Joaquin is on TikTok, then I was like, dude, this dude is famous now. Yeah. I was like, just like that. Yeah. Like, bro, that's how fast it took.
Yeah, people were hitting me up, bro. Like, I was like, I mean, there's some couple of people that was like, hey man, I know he got the bonus, and I'm like, bro, first of all, don't come at me. First of all, we haven't talked in years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, if you want to talk, message him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the guy. I'm not gonna tell him how to spend his money. Like, it's his own money, you know.
Yeah, money is funny, man. Like people, and it's we live in this ignorant ass society, man. Like when I got back to the gym, you know, I had a couple guys come to me at the gym, and they were like, hey, so did he get the bonus? And I'm like, why the fuck you guys asking me about this shit?
Such a weird fucking
right. They're like, but they're like, so what is he gonna do when he get the bonus? It's like, motherfucker, I don't know. Like, it ain't my money. Right. Like, I'm like, what you think we got a plan? Like, it's like, hey man, we gonna kick that motherfucker head off, and then we gonna open up, a Chick-fil-A in Normandy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I was like, but like, man, it's just. That's just the mentality of people who are just stuck in their own bubble, man. Yeah. And they really probably haven't risked a lot of stuff in their life, so they don't get it, And for my dude, I'm like instantly like, you know, I know what in the back of my head, I know what was going to happen with it because my dude got to take care of his grandma. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I didn't even tell them podcast my friend. I was like, man, it's like, don't be asking me shit about this dude's money, man. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? You know, like when I walk in the gym, come up to me and say, hey man, saw the fight, give him our best. You guys did great. Yep. Walk away. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you ain't giving shit about what we were doing. We in the gym every goddamn y'all motherfuckers ain't giving shit about what we doing. Y'all, you know, it's cool. Yeah. You know, they're like, hey man, look, it's cool. Look at that man. That dude's a fighter back there. It's cool. Yeah. Y'all don't give a fuck. Right. Y'all ain't tuning in to these fights. Y'all don't watch these fights every weekend like we do. Right. And then weird ass fights on Wednesday nights and Friday nights and whatever fucking. We got friends that are fighting. I was like, y'all not watching any of this shit. Y'all definitely ain't going and jumping in any in the gyms with any of these motherfuckers and doing these workouts and the training and the drilling and all that stuff. I was like, so you don't need to know like what he's doing with his money. Right. You know? But that's the world we live in right now where people feel like just because we have the ability, you know, with these devices and stuff to give people complete access to a life. Now people think they're entitled to know like what's going on in your life, you know? Like I had a conversation with a client about that yesterday, you know? Just because you see somebody doing something, that does not mean you know what's going on. Right. You know,
especially with social media.
Exactly. Unless you are hand in hand with them people all the time. And we know y'all not because we don't never see y'all. Right. We see each other. Right. You know what I mean? We know where we at. You know, we don't know where y'all at because we never cared. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, type shit. Like, period.
So what do you got? What's next for Travis Brown?
So, like really, man, with the fitness stuff, it's how do I transition like what I'm doing right now into also a holistic approach for not only my clients when they get older, but just to make sure I have something set up as like a end game for the entire path of what I created. Like I thought about like making my own certification to be able to sell to people and stuff like that. Okay. Don't really want anything to do with it because people don't give a shit what they're doing most of the times with their workouts. So, you know, for me, it's about building Valkyrie Fitness a lot bigger and getting more of my youth athletes into the mix, more of my fighters, more of my professional athletes into the mix so that they can start to develop the stuff that they need for the rest of their life, post-fight careers, post-athletic careers. And then, you know, I got to make a horror movie within the next, like, next couple years,
he's
you know?
actually about to be, so my buddy does screenwriting. He's about to make a short film for, like, horror.
Okay.
And he's about to be in it, so.
Okay, yeah. You know, people have been asking me for years, like, you know, like, why haven't you made a horror movie? What's... You know, you watch all these horror movies. You're a horror movie critic. You own, you know, Horror Movies Uncut. My website just hit. Well, actually, in January, it's going to be 11 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, like, which I'm super proud about, man, because it's like that's some straight out of the trunk shit. Yeah, like we got started with that, and a lot of grind, a lot of hustle, especially with all my writers that I used to have back in the day and all the work that they put in. Yeah, but. You know, I got all these talented friends that are making movies and they're doing their dreams and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm like, I gotta eventually put my stigma out there. And I got the ideas.
What can you give us like a little bit of the idea? Because we know we got the shout out Jordan Peele for doing the black actors in horror.
Yeah, man, fuck Jordan Peele, man. Fuck Jordan Peele, dude.
Why? You got some beef with Jordan Peele?
Man, tell that dude to stay off my Facebook page, man. Look, I'm happy when I see any brother making money.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm happy when I'm seeing any brother making money regardless of what they're doing. So I'm not saying fuck Jordan Peele on making his money, taking care of his family. But in regards to like redefining horror movies, you can fuck you, dog. Right. You stealing shit. You stealing shit. You stole The Changeling and turned that shit into Us. You know, you took about 4 different episodes of The Twilight Zone, mixed in with Sidney Poitier's Guess Who's Fucking Coming to Dinner, and made that shit called Get Out.
I mean, Key and Peele came from fucking Dave Chappelle, so. You know,
I mean, hey, Dave Chappelle said it best. It took 2 niggas to replace 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not mad at them. I you know, I knew those dudes, like, especially Jordan had that weirdness in him because if you watch those episodes of Key and Peele, you see that they did a lot of sci-fi kind of horror related stuff on their episodes. Yeah, but like, I said the same thing about Rob Zombie, man. Fuck Rob Zombie. Like, true story. Like, look, I love White Zombie, the metal band. I hated his solo career, but I love White Zombie. Like, some of my favorite music is when he was with his family making the music. But when you, and this is another reason why I'm a bitch, because I just need to make a horror movie so that I can't talk shit about these punk ass motherfuckers no more. Because I might make some copied ass shit my damn self, but nah, I ain't gonna make no copy ass shit. My shit's fucking, it's different.
You got somewhat of an idea or something?
Yeah. But hold on, let me get on Rob Zombie punk ass real quick and Jordan Peele. Let me finish up this thought so people just aren't like, man, Travis, you talk all shit about. Yeah. Like, it's when you have the ability to have seen so many horror films like Rob Zombie has, like Jordan Peele has and stuff like that, you should be able to have the ability to bring something new to the culture. Now, everybody likes to say, oh man, you can't bring nothing. Tell that to Guillermo del Toro. You know what I'm saying? Tell that to, there's a shitload of directors and filmmakers and screenwriters and producers who are coming up with new things all the time. Tell that to my homegirl, Jill Six. Big shout out to my homegirl, Jill Six, with the movie The Stylist. Okay. You know, who the fuck made a movie about a hairdresser killing fucking people? Right. Nobody. She did. You know what I'm saying? So there's still stuff out there that you can fucking find. Yeah. Now, look, I know you're going to always kind of get a little bit of something because it's based off of your influences, what you grew up watching, what was good important to you. I get that. But when you're just flat out stealing shit, fuck you, dog. You know what I'm saying? And when House of a Thousand Corpses came out, fuck you, dog. Like, all you did was rip off Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. Fuck you, dog. Like, period. When Lords of Salem came out, I actually liked Lords of Salem a lot because it was like this original thought by Rob Zombie. It's about witches and using music, and she's a DJ, and they're making this music kind of possess the entire town and shit like that. I'm like, that's just fucking gangster. I can fuck with that. Right. You know, it's different. But then you do the Halloween franchise. Fuck you, dude. Yeah. Like, Mrs. Myers is a fucking saint. She ain't a fucking stripper. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. You know, like, you're trying to make Michael Myers this like human because he's like, oh, well, you know, his daddy hit him and drunk and his mom was a stripper and he's outside stabbing kittens. So that's what makes him turn into this 6'5" dude with a mask, killing people and not talking. No, motherfucker, no.
So you had this post it was close to Halloween. Yeah. It was like all those like Halloween like characters. They threw in some extra motherfuckers like Predator and shit. Yeah. So who wins out of all that?
In the big animated post. Shit, man.
Because I know who I got.
I mean, real talk, like it would end up being Alien versus Predator.
You think so?
Yeah, because
not Jason.
Because
Why not Jason?
Because the problem is, okay, so like all the little people are fucked right off the bat. Pennywise is fucked. Jigsaw's fucked. Anybody that's a human is fucked. Yeah. Chucky's fucked. You know, I'm trying to think of the little bitch coming out the well, Samora, all of them, Sadako, the Japanese versions of them, the Ring, the you know, they all fucked. Yeah. She gonna come out of the well, fucking alien gonna eat her ass and move on with her fucking day. You know, the big dudes are gonna put in work. Okay, so yeah, Leatherface, Jason, you know, Freddy's a wild card because he needs fear. He can only hurt people if they're asleep. Yeah. So that's the thing. He needs to have people fall asleep before he can fuck them up. So he's gonna have to survive. And you know, when you got guys like Michael Myers in them who like are completely blank of thought and conscious, you can't do nothing with that. Exactly. So you just gonna get fucked up. And that's what's gonna be Michael's advantage. Michael's my dude. That's gonna give him an advantage because he's gonna be just completely non-existent on anything, but I'm just gonna kill everybody and move on from there. Okay. Now I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Thomas Hewitt, he's my favorite horror movie character, but he's a human, so he's fucked. Like he's gonna take some people out with him, right? You know, because he's gonna swing his big chainsaw and he's a big kid, but he's gonna get taken out because he's a human. You know, just like Jigsaw cancer ass is gonna get taken out. You know, he's gonna step up. You want to play a game, and the Predator is gonna shoot one of them little fucking things out of his wrist and fucking kill him. And that's what it boils down to, man. The Predator can disappear. He can disappear. He can stand next to a tree and turn into what the tree looks like and hide from everybody.
Right.
So he can completely disappear and then just show up and just fucking fuck people up, cut people up. Motherfucker's 6 foot, like 7 foot tall. So he's taller than Jason and Freddie and Michael and everybody like that. And he's strong as shit. And he's trained to hunt and kill. So he's gonna set traps. He's like, and that's what I'm saying. All them little motherfuckers, like the little white kids, children that are damned, and like, and all them motherfuckers, like they all of them getting their heads cut off. It's gonna be like that scene in Ghost Ship with the fucking wire line goes through and cuts the whole entire boat, just kills everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna end up being the only. But see, once again, the only other wild card would be Candyman's fucked because he ain't even gonna be able to come in unless somebody says his fucking name 5 times.
Right.
So he's just sitting on it. Right. Him and Freddie, they gonna end up fighting each other. Right. Because they can't even fucking feel like, well, fuck. Well, you want to fucking fight like that? You know when you be sparring, so it's like, you want to spar? Like ain't nobody else to fucking spar with. Right. So they gonna end up fucking fighting with each other because they got to get called in, you know, to fucking fight. So they're not gonna be part of the melee. And Alien, she's untouchable. She moves too fast. And she can do a 1-strike kill and then move on from there. Right. You know, she open up her mouth, the little fucking mouth come out, snatch your fucking shit, and then she fucking burns out on your ass. You know, next thing you know, and her ass can blend in with the fucking scenery and surrounding too.
So it's coming down to Alien
vs. Predator. Paul, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's fucked up. Like because, I mean, if you take the aliens out of the equation, the conversation can get a little bit more better, but the aliens kind of fuck up the equation because their technology's too good and they're too fucking powerful. So they would fucking fuck everybody up. You know, the only other wild card would be Pinhead. You know, because he's a demon. I mean, he's a lord of one of the realms of hell. So he really can't die. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the same. But the problem is he's still kind of in that boat with fucking Candyman and fucking Freddy, because if ain't nobody playing with the fucking box, your ass is just trapped in the box, man. Exactly. So you trying to fight, you fucking FaceTiming fucking the genie, dog, because both y'all motherfuckers are stuck in shit. You can't fucking get out. Crazy. Yeah, y'all been on quarantine way before the pandemic happened, you know? Right. So that's the only thing with that is they just wouldn't even get a chance. So it would end up being Alien versus Predator, man. That's real talk. And anybody want to fight me on this? Y'all know what my Instagram is. Y'all know what my Facebook is. Go ahead and post y'all little comments, acting like y'all actually watch any of this stuff and know anything about all this stuff. We can get into the superhero conversations, which y'all want to do. You know, y'all can do it anytime y'all want to. And just don't be mad when I shut everything you say in a paragraph down in one sentence. It just happens, you know? All
right. You got any advice? I want to ask if you had any advice for like young black men in America.
Save your motherfucking money. Stop taking these women to the clubs. Stop taking them on trips. Save your money. And if you with a real woman, I don't care what color she is, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, she's not going to be out there trying to spend all your money because she's going to want to have a future with you too. We got to get out of this culture of outdoing each other through social media with like fake wealth. You know, you got young brothers out here flashing their plugs money and then getting killed over it. You got young brothers out here flashing their bonus money and getting, you know, talked to about it. And we as black men don't need to do that, man. We are, like, as Paul Mooney said on the David Chappelle show, we are the most copied individual in history. Like, people want to look like us, people want to dress like us, people want to act like us, they want to move like us, they want to have that soul, that fluidity, that swagger, whatever the hell you want to call it, man. We got it. You know what I'm saying? And it gets copied and it tries to get duplicated. And we ain't never asked for it. You know? Like back when all the stuff was going on with George Floyd and stuff like that, I have a lot of friends that are from multi-different backgrounds and cultures and ethnicities. And the ones that would reach out to me and they'd be like, well, what can I do? And I'm like, bro, there's nothing you can do but constantly remind yourself to stay educated. And staying educated is not just checking out what's going on in the news and looking at somebody's biased opinion.
Right.
It's looking at everybody's opinion and then being able to decipher and make your own opinion based off of that, But we live in this apologist society where people, like I heard a young lady, unfortunately, talk about race, and she said, "I'm too young to care about that stuff right now." She's a fucking freshman or senior in high school. Yeah. So if you still got young people out there with that mentality, then that's letting you know shit ain't about to change anytime soon.
Right.
So what I'm telling to my young black brothers and stuff is you need to be able to start creating the lifestyles that are important for what you see, not just based off of what you want to do, because you can still be led astray by all the stuff you want to do. Like I want to go, like I was talking to one of my clients this morning about the same thing. And he gonna kill me because I'm about to call his ass out on this, but I'm not gonna say his name though. Yeah. But his lady took him to a restaurant, and she ended up covering the bill. But it was a super expensive restaurant, but the food is trash. Yeah. And it's like, why the fuck are we here? Yeah. Just to check in and say we went here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, you ended up eating trash food for a very, very high price. Yeah. I don't care where you going. I'm going in the back and fighting the fucking chef and shit. Like, motherfucker, we paid all this fucking money and you come out with this bullshit? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was at a restaurant in Memphis one time. I told this chick, you need to tell chef, come out here, dog. Yeah. I'm like, where's the rest of the meat, man? Like, kill 2 more things and put it on here.
Brisket or something? What'd you get?
It was supposed to be this combination of stuff. And it was, I thought they were bringing out like a little kid's plate. I was like, man, y'all tripping.
He said, where's the rest of the food?
Exactly. I told him, I was like, just give me a knife and show me where the cow is, and I'll just go in there and attack it.
Did this shit yourself.
Right, I'll get it. But you gotta save your money, man, and stay educated. You gotta read, man. There's these amazing authors out there that you can read. You should be reading about Marcus Garvey. You should be reading about guys like Malcolm X. You should be reading about James Baldwin. You should be knowing about Frederick Douglass. You should be knowing about the history of who we are as black men, so that we don't make any more mistakes going down the line from there, But at the end of the day, man, this world is ran by money. So you got to follow the money, but you also got to make it and you got to save it, and that's the thing. And I mean, I have to tell myself that shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? When it's a Saturday night, like I'm like, fuck, man. Like I'm so happy that I'm in love with a sport like the UFC or college football or basketball, because I can sit my ass at home on a Saturday night, watch me some fights, kick it with my boys or something like this and call it a day. I don't need to be out there. Yeah. Chase, even though you got a lot of people out there thinking your boy be out, people be thinking my ass is out. I post one fucking video, people be thinking I'm out for like 12 fucking weeks in a row. Yeah. They're like, dang, Travis, you always going out. Like, motherfucker, I be sitting at home in my underwear like 90% of the time, playing fucking Far Cry and shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people don't know me, right? And that's why, like,
I didn't know what you showed them.
Right. And that's why, I do my own podcast. I do.
Shout out Travis Brown first.
Travis Brown first. Well, you know what I'm saying? And I need to do some of those because I'm fucking slacking on them. But there's so much stuff going on. Right. But yeah, man, and the hustle, like that hustle cannot go away, man. The humility and the hustle cannot go away, because once you quit and you quit thinking about money, you quit thinking about your drive and your hustle, and you just start conforming, man, that's when you start slipping and making mistakes. Yeah. And I'm not saying you need to be on edge. You know what I mean? Have an edge, but you don't need to be on edge, But what you need to do is be able to say, when this is all said and done, did I leave something for the people that were following me? Yeah. Now, if you decide never to have any kids or something like that, that's totally fine. We don't need no more fucking kids. People got dogs anyway. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People got, and don't ever get me started with people with the dogs. Like I love dogs to death, but people are getting ridiculous with these dogs.
It's a weird concept if you think about it.
Right. But you gotta, like, young black men, they gotta take care of themselves. Hygiene, everything, man. Stop smoking blunts. Like, just use papers and glass pieces and water bongs. Stop smoking blunts. Get off of the tobacco paper, man, because it's making y'all teeth look like shit, nails look like shit, and that tobacco paper is terrible for them. So I want them to, I need my little young brothers to smoke all day, do whatever you need to do, bruh. Smoke, do what you got to do. Just get off them blunts, man.
Yeah.
Like, just get off them fucking blunts.
Yeah.
And I know I just made a shitload of young white people mad in the motherfucker. They're like, I just learned how to roll a blunt.
Right.
He's telling them to stop
You
smoking
get the cones.
them now.
You go get the cones.
Get the cones.
Get the
Exactly,
cones.
man. It's easy. Do what you need to do and move on, man. But like, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing the blunt culture, man.
Yeah.
It's got to go because I need my young brothers to take care of them lungs, man.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, they just be running into it too much. So,
All right. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
bro, I appreciate you guys having me,
Yeah.
man.
I
Like,
thought we had a
big
really
time.
good podcast.
Yep.
You know, I just speak what I am.
Yep. Shout out your social media.
Oh yeah, so if you want to find me on social media at NyQuil, that's spelled with an extra L. That's how you find me on
I don't even know how you
Instagram.
got that one.
Hell yeah, that's always a good story. You can listen to me on Spotify, Travis Brown vs. the World podcast, also the Submissions and Slashers podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Valkyrie Fitness Training, Facebook, Valkyrie Fitness Training for all the fitness stuff. And then, of course, you can find the Family Horror Movies Uncut, HMUNUCT. And that's on Instagram, TikTok, the website, the Facebook, and everything, man.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
That's
brother.
it, baby. Appreciate you. Yes, appreciate you.
Get to work.
Appreciate you, fellas. Yes.
Yes, sir.